Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Tabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We'll cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a great show in store for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. This is going to be one that it's quite hilarious. It's actually a topic that I'm going to want to touch on for about a day or so now. But we didn't have a chance yesterday. I think we produced like 4 shows, so it was a lot of stuff, so we couldn't get to it. But today, I said, why not? Let's touch on it. So as you guys know, the Olympics are underway. Last time I checked, the USA now is the leading country in all medals. I think gold, silver, bronze, and the total tally. Last time I checked, I think the United States is either 62 or 78 medals. It's the country behind them. It's China, right? So Olympics is a lot of festivities, a lot of different sporting events taking place. Very, very exciting moment if you're someone that is into athletics. And usually whenever the Olympics come around, what you see is camaraderie between countrymen, even though they may have different sports. So you may see swimmers go to NBA games, NBA players go to sprinting events, and vice versa. So what happened? USA essentially trounced Brazil yesterday on their way to the quarterfinal or semifinals of the Olympics. And I think they're going to be facing Serbia today. I thought it was yesterday, but it's today at 8 p.m. my time. So what happened? So during that game, as I mentioned before, it was a blowout. So I think at some point in the third quarter, Steve Kerr elected to substitute LeBron James out of the game, right? And I think he was having a good game, according to what I heard, because I missed that game. So LeBron James walks over to the bench, right? He walks over to the bench and he sits down. And what ends up happening is he begins to look up in the stands, and he looks up at the Jumbotron and he sees his face, right? So as he sees his face, he starts hearing cheering, people cheering in the audience. So he then assumes that they were cheering for him. So he then elects to put on the crown emoji, the crown thing that he normally does like this, thinking that they were cheering him on. But in reality, what was actually happening was French swimmer Leon Marchand actually walked into the arena, and people began to cheer him, but LeBron thought that they were cheering him. So I actually saw this come across my desk when I was watching an episode, believe it or not, from Jim Rome. Now, if you guys know anything about sports, Jim Rome used to be on ESPN, and he used to have a show called Rome is Burning, right? So I came across him talking about this. So he's the one that we actually want to play the audio from, breaking it down, because he pretty much was cracking jokes about LeBron. He was calling him a name I've not heard yet, which was quite interesting. But before we even get into what Jim Rome had to say about this awkward viral moment that LeBron experienced, today's video is brought to you by a sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we'd like to do now is we'd like to play exactly what Jim Rome had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to that there.
Did you see what happened to the flag bearer yesterday?
Who, me?
You. It's almost too good to be true. It's actually pretty hilarious. An all-time moment of LeBagginess for LeBag. And obviously, that would be saying something. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but he did bag it up at a rather baggy time. In case you missed it, it happened at the very end of that head caving that Team USA put on Brazil in the Olympic quarterfinal yesterday. Braun checked out with 3 minutes left and a 34-point lead. And as he went and found a seat on the end of the bench, he heard a rising swell of cheers from the crowd. Naturally, he thought it was for him. Naturally. He looks up on the scoreboard and he sees himself. And then he knows it's for him. And he heard the cheers, and they were getting more and more aggressive and more raucous. Naturally, he had the only thought that King James was ever going to have in that moment. Naturally, LeBag did the only thing that anyone who knows anything about LeBag would expect him to do. Think that they were all cheering for him, that they were all there for him. One small problem. They were not cheering for him.
The minutes that you do play, that you play at a high level, and he said he thinks everybody's done that really from the exhibitions all the way through. And we've seen that again tonight as this crowd is responding. Somebody just stood up. The question is,
as an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah. As Caboclo slams inside.
I can't see. Is that the swimmer?
It could be Marchand. I think it's Marchand in here. It is.
It is.
Yeah, of course it was Leon. Of course that was for Leon. Of course that was not for LeBag. Man, that is so brutal. He's crowning himself. He's crowning himself, and nobody's even looking at or caring about him. Man, that is beyond awkward. It's just embarrassing. And then you've got people clipping it and putting it out on social media, and then it's even more embarrassing, and it's even more humiliating. Like, of course the locals were not going that insane for LeCap. I mean, I'm sure they like him just fine. But they definitely were not going to lose their minds because he checked out of that game with a 34-point lead. The only person who thinks that LeCap is that important is LeCap. But I do have to give him this much. The dude did get screwed by like this perfect storm of awkward. He checks out. He's feeling the high of another truly great performance. And by the way, it was another truly great performance. Then he hears the cheers. Then he looks up. Then he sees himself on the scoreboard. And he's him, right? So of course he thinks it's for him. It's all too perfect. It's almost like he was set up. It's almost like Leon was waiting for LeCap to come out of the game before making that grand entrance on his own. And you had this perfect storm of awkwardness and baggery.
So you heard what Jim Rome had to say. Now, from what I could discern, it sounded like he was calling him LeCap or whatever it is. I don't know what's up with that. And then there's another article that I want to quickly read from here. This is from Sportskeeda. And it says, LeBron James crowns himself while misinterpreting cheers from Olympian Leon Marchand. It says LeBron James had a solid outing against Brazil today. Team USA won by 35 points to advance to the semifinals of the 2024 Paris Olympics tournament. James played a big chunk of the first half and had a couple of minutes in the second half during the runaway win. However, LeBron's most curious moment during the game didn't occur when he was on the court. The Lakers superstar similarly thought fans were cheering his name while they gave it up for French swimmer Leon Marchand. With just over 2 minutes left on the clock, James was spotted by the camera, and he didn't miss the chance to crown himself and let everybody know who the king is. Marchand was visibly confused when the camera turned on him. Fans were heard chanting, "Leon, Leon," which could have been confused for LeBron, LeBron. Anyway, that's what that article said. Now, what's interesting about Jim Rome here? Jim Rome is someone I hadn't heard from in a while, right? So I actually Googled him to hear what he's up to these days. And Jim Rome is actually making serious bank. According to the information I got here, Jim Rome is actually, his salary is $30 million He's a sports commentator for CBS. So he's making a lot of money. He seems to have a net worth of over $110 million. So Jim Rome seems to be doing his thing. So that's what's going on with Jim Rome. Let's get back to this story here. What are my thoughts on this? I think it's hilarious. I really do think it's hilarious, man. I mean, come on, like, think about how awkward it must have been. Think about his teammates sitting there like, yo, because they must have been watching like, yo, son, they're not cheering for you, bro. They cheering for son that just walked into the building. And it must have been a very, very awkward moment. And look, I watch various creators that are pro LeBron, anti LeBron, and one of the things that people that are anti LeBron, shout out to my man, Two Raw for Sports. Two Raw for Sports really believes that LeBron James is a narcissist. He truly believes that. He really, really believes that he's a narcissist, and he likes to make everything about him. Right. So at any moment, he thinks that the attention is on him or ought to be on him. And that's the reason why he did it. But LeBron is known for doing this. Right. He's known for crowning himself and letting people know. Now, to me, here's the interesting thing about this. I don't think LeBron is, whenever he crowns himself, I don't think he's letting the fans know that he's the king. I think he is reassuring himself that he is the king. That's really what I think is taking place there whenever you see LeBron do that. Because if you're the king, you don't need to be reminded that you're the king, especially yourself. Like, people are going to remind you that, hey, look, man, you that dude. Like, you're the king. But for LeBron to be the one to do that, it says a lot. Look, LeBron is a very interesting person. I don't know him, but LeBron is a billionaire. He's one of the most famous people in the world. He's one of the most accomplished athletes in the world, right? He has fans all over the world. He has supporters all over television, on sports and sports media. So one would assume that he would be 100% comfortable in his own skin, that he wouldn't constantly need this positive reinforcement from people externally. But for whatever reason, he does. And that's something I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to compare him, but we got to compare him to the great players. If I think of an MJ, would MJ do something like that? No. Would Kobe Bryant do something like that? No. It's not that I think they're too humble. It's just that I don't think that they would be preoccupied with something like that. Like, okay, let me crown myself in the middle of a game or whatever it is for the crowd. I don't really think they would. I don't even think MJ, if MJ was participating in these Olympics, I don't think MJ would have tried to make it about him. These Olympics for the United States is not really about the United States and the way the media is covering it. It's more about LeBron James and LeBron's quest for another gold medal. That's really what it's about. And it's really the first time I'm seeing this particular narrative with any USA team. I can go back all the way to the 2008 team. The 2008 team was the Redeem team. It was all about bringing home the medal. The next team, 2012 team, was all about making sure that remind the world it wasn't a fluke. There weren't any real narratives around that one. The 2016 one, I think, the 2016 one didn't really have any medals. It was just about United States defending themselves. The Olympics, I can't even remember anything about it, to be honest with you, apart from the fact that they won the gold. But this particular one seems to be more narrative driven, and it could be that it's because LeBron is towards the tail end of his career, and he wants to retire, or he's planning on retiring, and they have to make it they have to make the storylines and get people talking and get people emotionally invested into it. But in terms of him crowning himself and the people like not thinking, it happens. It happens. It must have been a very awkward moment, not just for LeBron, but also for his fans. It's a pretty awkward moment. But I said, hey, let's cover it. Let's have a good laugh about it. I'm sure some people are gonna be pissed off about us talking about it, but it is what it is, my boy. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.